Alright everybody, how's it going? Today we're talking about the Ryobi 10-inch cordless 18-volt 1+ system snow shovel. This is not a snowplow, it is a Ryobi snow shovel. So I'm taking it out of the box here. As you can see, the box packaging was actually a little bit complex and difficult, and I didn't really like that a whole lot. But it does come with a snow chute guard. It comes with the handle. It comes with, this one came with a battery and a 4 amp hour or a 4 amp hour battery and a charger. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to need 4 amp hour or more for this system to work if you're doing anything more than about 20 or 60 square feet is my experience, especially if it's in somewhat thick or heavy or wet snow. You do have to put 4 screws in on the handles. The handles are keyed. They only go in one way, so it helps you put it in the right way. I couldn't get one of the screws in on this snow guard, so that was a little frustrating, but it's a Ryobi product. I didn't expect the world of it. The handle just snaps on and then it tightens, and here we are. I am running a 4 amp hour battery in this. Now, this is light and fluffy and powdery snow, but this snow came down not the night before, but the night before that. And people had walked on it. So there is pack ice under there, and that's what's giving me a little bit of a problem. If you have pack ice, it does get caught up in things a little bit. The handle is helpful for helping you pick it up and over that. It is fairly light as a unit goes, so I think that while it can be tiring, just to be honest, it's not effortless by any means, but it's way better than using a snow shovel. Women, as well as most women, even petite women, even like some children could use this. There's moving parts, so you do want to be careful of where you stick your fingers and things like that, but at least the moving parts are plastic. So the shovel, the corkscrew that draws all the snow toward the shovel, everything, they're all plastic. There's no metal on this as far as down at the head area that's going to hit the concrete or whatever. It's overall pretty straightforward. It is a snow shovel. It throws snow directly in front of you. You can't shoot it off to the side or whatever unless you turn the shovel at an angle. So here the sidewalk wasn't that bad, so I'm just going straight in front of me. This is about 3 inches deep, like I said, mainly like super fine powder light snow with a little bit of pack in there, and I'm just going down the sidewalk there. But as you see, as I get closer to the street, I have to turn and start angling my shoveling so that it goes in the yard and away from the vehicle. So while it is pretty much what they said, it'll work with any 18-volt Ryobi 1 cordless system battery. It has a number of cons to it, and one is it is Ryobi. The plastic they used is not super great. I'm concerned about how long it'll last just in use. You can see those grooves that I'm putting in the snow as I push. That's because there is like an anvil, as we would call it, as is typically the word for it. But there's a little edge, a slide on the bottom that the snow shovel kind of rubs up against to make sure that as that snow gets scooped up by that shovel, it can throw it. And it's plastic, and it grinds on the concrete once you've moved the snow, and so therefore you're constantly rubbing it back and forth on concrete, and it's just a not super high quality plastic. And at the end of the video, I show you a little bit about what I could see as I was doing this. It was definitely not scratch free after doing a bit of snow removal. So I did 2 main sidewalks here. I did this one in total. This one, well, 3. This one sidewalk that I'm on currently is about 100 foot long and it's about 3 foot wide. So that's about 300 square foot of surface. The one in front of the house is 2 foot wide and it's about 50 foot long, so yeah, it was a little bit of snow and stuff there. It does throw, as you can see here, a rooster tail. It'll throw, I guess I saw max was about 13 foot, but it will throw it. It'll get about 5 to 6 foot high on average. So keep that in mind. And if there is loose rocks or anything, a loose piece of concrete, whatever, a piece of metal, a nail, if there's anything in that snow that can be dislodged and moved by that shovel, it will throw it as well. So you have to be careful about windows of houses. You have to be careful about cars coming down the road. And I had to deal with that here shortly. You have to be careful about the car that I have parked right there. Different things like that. It's just how this is. It does its job. It just can be dangerous. And as you can see here, there's some fairly large rooster tails coming into the yard there. But it did clear out quite quickly the front yard. I think both these sidewalks took me like not 20 minutes maybe, or 18 minutes or something like that. This is the one in the back, down the side, I should say, and the snow plow had come through and dumped a bunch of wet snow on top. So this is somewhere between 5 and 8 inches thick, depending on what section of it I hit, and it's handling it for sure. I did, I guess, about 170 square feet, maybe 200, and it took me 2 4-amp-hour batteries. So kind of keep that in mind if you're looking at purchasing one and what you might get out of it. And if it's heavier, wetter snow, it's probably going to take more. And if you're fighting ice a lot, it's going to be even harder. So to my left in the camera, you can see there's a highway and there's a bunch of cars coming down it. So I'm having to be very careful that I don't throw this snow out into the lane or anything like that. So that's why I'm doing these angled crosses across the sidewalk. And overall, the unit did, like I said before, exactly what I expected it to do. It didn't disappoint. The plastics are my biggest concern on this, and I've had a bunch of Ryobi products in the past. If you're a pro contractor, I would worry that the engine or the motor of this would wear out within a year or even 6 months, especially if you're doing lots of heavy snow. If you're doing it for home use like we are, or if you're using it for, like, maybe you do condo maintenance or something and you have a couple of sidewalks to maintain, or you're a handyman and every once in a while you have to clean off some snow and it's not worth having a snow blower but you're tired of using a manual shovel, this would be a good option. But as you can see here, it got deep and now it's having a hard time moving it. Now, it's moving it and the motor wasn't bogging down. What was happening was the snow was getting thicker than the head, and it couldn't throw the snow up over what was already there. So it kind of got in the way. I actually had to go on the far side of that little mound and leave this mound here and then come back and get it a different way later. So it's doing it clearly, and that's kind of what I was testing is, will it do it? And it will. It was just definitely struggling to get that done. And if I had kept doing it this way, I don't know that the motor would have burned out this go, but it definitely would have drained the battery to a larger degree. And right here I checked the battery, and I'm down to two bars on the battery. And looking at what I had left, I was pretty sure I could get the rest of the sidewalk done, which I did. But I did have to kind of jump in front of it, and as you'll see, I'll go down to the other end now. You'll see that there's a fence here, and even though you can't see it at the moment, it is blowing snow up on the fence, which is sticking to the fence, and that's not ideal either. It's even worse if you're around a house and you turn it toward the house. It's going to blow. You could just see a little corner of where that snow had stuck to the fence there, about 4 foot up. So While it does work, it has its limits on where you can use it if you want to be safe with it. So if you have to do in between houses or condos or something, you can see all that snow up on the fence now as I'm moving around. Be careful. It could bust a window easily. Not even having a rock in it. Just if you throw hard snow, if it's packed snow and it throws a chunk of snow or a frozen piece of ice, it could definitely bust a window. So overall, it's worth the money for what we're doing with it. Here's that pile. I'm going back. I'm getting to see how it's sticking up on the fence. You'll see here it's down to one battery now. Oh, it didn't show the battery, but it did go down to one battery. It's a little wobbly and stuff. I did try it on our AstroTurf, and it works. It does work on artificial turf. So here, I rearranged these. Sorry. Here is where I show it's down to one battery bar. I'm wiggling it. You can see that the shaft, even though it's screwed together and it is keyed, does flex a good bit. The handle there, you can tell, flexes quite a bit. It's not like the quality of buying a steel weed eater, the handles and things on those. The shaft is not going to be that same quality either. So just kind of keep that in mind. The head does have all plastic components, and you can see that right now where I'm showing. There's the shovel. It's all plastic, nothing metal on the shovel itself that you can see that's exposed. Down there at the bottom is where it rides on the concrete. That anvil that I'm running my hand across and those that I showed on the edges are all plastic and already starting to scratch up and wear after about 200 square feet of use. So if you had to use this regularly, you could easily wear through that, it looks like. And I don't know if they sell replacement parts for this. So there you go.